YouTube comments from a video titled, AI Whistleblower. We are being gaslit by AI companies. They're hiding the truth. Karen Hao. Part 20.
Bruin wrote,
You have many guests talking about AI and AGI. I hope that a lot of people will really see what is coming now. When I start talking about this with friends and colleagues, it seems as if they think we are introducing a typewriter and that will be solved just fine. They have no idea what indirect consequences it will have. Just like the problems in Iran right now, AI AGI also has many consequences for the economy and humanity.
Roscoe21 wrote,
How demoralizing for a degreed and / or highly trained professional to have to secretly annotate for the very AI which has replaced them to continue to put food on their table. As you implied, the quality, satisfaction, and the remuneration of the work are far inferior to the heights these professionals had reached in their careers. This is who you need to interview in your brilliant way, Steven. As many as possible. Thank you, Karen. The most important facts in all the extremely important facts you presented to Steve in your conversation.
Devin Tobar 445 wrote,
Social media is just another way to promote propaganda. It's disguised as hyper-stimulating or psychologically incentivizing content designed to condition people into ideological conformity. AI is transforming this into a political weapon to be used to collect data and promote targeted propaganda. The AI empires do it too to promote their own agendas and goals.
Ilko__Hun wrote,
The root U.S. society, embraced with the Trump admin, has normalized and even celebrated previous considered heinous corporate behavior. This is the consequence of that. If there will ever be a return to compos mentis politics in the U.S., it will cause a corporate Nuremberg-sized trial, just to give semblance of reparation towards the affected global societies. Its actions already causes death for the most vulnerable demographics on our planet. What I do find funny, the fact that it are the ultimate proponents of the current economical system that have invalidated that exact system, doing what Marxism couldn't, sabotaging the foundation of capitalism. The morality is that we didn't thought of valid alternatives that don't consider corporate taking over society. There will be huge conflicts in the near future.
Tom Wellstone wrote,
Sad to say it, this is just the human singularity. No one will admit it, but that's what happened. Now think about that revolution plus robotics development. And indeed, human beings are useless as workforce. Now, even in regards to regulations, it's almost impossible to regulate. The business have too much of economical intensive, while the government getting to control everything intensive. And at the same time, those that actually know something about computing systems understand the black box idea, where we are not fully in control of the system just by default. That's how computing was established, pretty much conveying the end of humanity by the year 2500. 230. 0 is the real Q. I am. Not optimistic. Hope you kids know how to read.
Astra wrote,
There are specific, albeit controversial and non-mainstream, scientific hypotheses that postulate consciousness precedes matter. These theories, often emerging from the intersection of quantum physics, cosmology, and philosophy, argue that consciousness is a fundamental feature of the universe rather than a byproduct of biological brains. While machines may possess some form of intelligence, they certainly do not possess consciousness. I worked 20 years as a cybersecurity practitioner in Silicon Valley, which is replete with egotistic misanthropists. AI doesn't scare me, but the personalities behind its development are nothing short of psychopathic. Their power and influence needs to be curbed for the sake of us all.
Pandemic wrote,
I don't disagree with some points, but Karen does not seem to understand how autonomous driving is trained, especially at Tesla, or only has a small subset of information from probably inferior autonomous solutions. It is not just locational data taught to the model for autonomous driving. Inference training is rule distance, speed, time, traffic, weather, based and reasoning calculation based on inputs from all of those rules and what the vehicle sees, training based on the sum of identifiable objects, roads, lanes, vehicles, signs, people, bikes, traffic lights, etc. Gross generalization incoming. Waymo. 70% locational, 30% inference, probably shifting more to inference now. In order to stay competitive, reducing car configuration costs, increase speed to scale. Tesla, 30% locational, 70% inference. This allows Tesla to react to objects seen with reasoning based on expected behaviors based on a very large training data volume, multi-million miles of footage. These splits are directly related to the different approaches adopted by Waymo. No data other than locational data to get started and some basic object recognition. And Tesla, who collected video data from their customers. This is millions of miles. This fed the inference training. The location data was most definitely an attribute, but the fact a car behaved a certain way around a stop sign. This is the inference, and thus allows behavior to be largely dictated by what is seen and understood via a stop sign of a particular intersection in a specific town, etc.
At Anch141619 wrote,
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we are being controlled by big industrialists, and there is no guff or any help for normal people like Yumi and everyone around.
A Jackie SD6LC wrote,
She's a seller, trying to tag and quote a bunch of people to convince you and buy that you take whatever she says with a grain of salt. Some of these people used to be wrong a lot more than they were right.
At GrainSalt9662 wrote,
Just another anti-progress if it isn't flowers and rainbows and done my way reactionary. She is just seeing that she is a buggy whip maker and gonna be replaced by the newfangled car economy.
At Linus Lines wrote,
Whoa, she is so smart. Makes Steven a 3-year-old baby. Used to be a fan of Steven, but now I see he is on the same money. Cares about his own life and not making other people's lives better. He could make so much change with the presence he has in the world. Sad. He doesn't even seem to care about his own team and will discard them easily. Who will listen to your podcast, Steven, when people won't be able to afford food?
At Vivesyn4893 wrote,
I always hoped that one day AI and robots would do everything, so no one would have to work and all your needs are met because the labor is done by machines. But it looks like capitalism is abusing AI to line their wallets further, and people are pushing back against AI. So now I guess that Star Trek future will never come.
And Mickey D wrote,
Musk was sounding the alarm about the existential threat AI possessed because he didn't want to enter into a partnership with OpenAI, but instead he himself wanted to monopolize AI in a way he had total control. The reality, Musk at the top of the list when it comes to the existential threat to humanity posed by the Epstein and billionaire class. Musk is as dangerous as any ruthless dictator that has ever existed.
At DragusGeorge2651 wrote,
I cannot stop myself to think communist ideology when hearing the word imperialist. Sorry, my dear brilliant, well-spoken Karen Hao, but the Roman Empire was also a very important pillar of the European civilization despite its flaws and corruption. And speaking of corruption, modern civil law is developed from Roman law, primarily based on the Corpus Juris Civilis compiled by Justinian I. Concepts such as property rights contracts, family law obligations, distinctions between public and private law, all trace directly to Roman jurisprudence. So just to make them evil is for me a left-wing influenced discourse, even though I do agree with your point regarding the development of AI.
PTR4ZV wrote,
1 hour, 12 minutes, 22 seconds. This isn't true. Understand it. The AI for Wave's autonomous vehicles, for example, already applies the same principles of driving we do to
adapt to new situations, and successfully trialed in many cities and countries previously unknown to it.
A Johnny Nonsense wrote,
This woman is awful, trying to pretend that understanding IQ is nefarious or tried to prove inferiority. Inferiority is a fact of life. Undeniable, factual, and not debatable.
A Dinar Wali 386 wrote,
Elon Musk's Colossus facility in Memphis is adding more gas turbines in Mississippi to power the Colossus 2. Karen's right about the toxin emissions and their impact on community health. He is adding more turbines in nearby Mississippi instead of Memphis.
A Herc Cantarellus wrote,
I've learned that Steven has an ethical issue. He keeps looking for blameless confirmation that he's not feeding the wolf, and if they're a way that it will one day eat him as well.
At Manuel Corrales 982 wrote,
We can use interviews like this in 5 years to show how many people were absolutely wrong about AI. She won't be able to say, I didn't say that. Don't bet against AI.
At Dejanemeyer Fnicht 1791 wrote,
Even if AI turned out to be great for the billionaires, just like Marilyn Monroe in Some Like It Hot, we, the people, always get the fuzzy end of the lollipop. It'll heal cancer, make you live longer, and love you long time. A fake Holy Spirit by fraudsters.
And Mickey D wrote,
The Roman Empire, arguably one of the most brutal empires to ever exist in human history, is still alive and well in the form of the Roman Catholic Church and Christianity as a whole.
TCKO Art, Psychic, Medium, Artist wrote,
150 in, and she's right. I love tech. I dig AI. The issue is the corruption and who is running it. Emma also say most of it isn't actually AI by definition. It's not that advanced yet. There is trickery. The real AI is from off-planet and they have nothing to do with it. It's run by those whom the 1% are trying to usurp. Let's see what she has come up with too. Thanks for the video. Gonna watch the rest now. LOL.
At Druid Celtic 777 wrote,
I see this lady better suited to fighting as a lawyer or coordinates with such against big tech from an environmental safety perspective. She is very passionate about relaying you the negative facts. She is awesome.
At Noahidus wrote,
I believe this is the most ridiculous conversation that has ever happened on this channel. A lady who constantly demonizes AI businesses is at the same time accusing those businesses of demonizing their competitors.
At TruceNew 4781 wrote,
HMMM. What's Google's mission statement again? HMMM, the rest are exactly the same, all bent on power and control. The stage was set 28 years ago. Voila, here we are.
Dedalim, Highland U9T wrote,
Steven, I love you. But seriously? Taking a call mid-interview? I honestly can't see you do that with other guests, regardless of how poignant or relevant it might be to the conversation. It is completely disrespectful to your guest. You could have also just asked if she was okay for you to answer the call to show some acknowledgement.
At Red Clover PF6 RJ wrote,
Every company is trying to do AI, and they talk about how much easier and better for the organization, easier to find information, etc. But how many really understand what it means? It goes back to the old adage, dirty in, dirty out. Everybody wants to build AI, but has anyone ever thought about their underlying information base?
Daterton wrote,
Bring Jonathan Nolan for an interview, the writer of Person of Interest and Westworld. I think we'll all be amazed to get a glimpse at his AI-induced brain. his highly intuitive brain waves so early in the history of AI. I think it will blow our minds to capture his notion on the current AI developments and the further projection of AI.
Jolien08R wrote,
Irony. You interview a critic of AI, and then you speak an ad to make us eyes AISP. The tech bros can data mean all that you write? That's wild.
Ephason_XD wrote,
My takeaway here was, here is a lady just smart enough to sound like she knows what she's talking about, but not smart enough to actually understand what she's talking about.
Adriamerper Siemper wrote,
Hey, Steve. I've been a loyal listener of your podcast for quite a while, and I genuinely appreciate the insights you've shared over time. Recently, though, I found myself feeling overwhelmed by the volume of AI-related content that leans heavily on fear and urgency, almost as if we're all falling behind unless we immediately master everything. It started to feel more stressful than helpful, so I took a bit of a break from listening. That said, this latest conversation was one of the best AI discussions I've heard on your channel. It felt balanced, thoughtful, and actually useful. I really appreciated the perspective. I'd love to see more of that direction going forward, bringing in diverse viewpoints, focusing on clarity and practical value, and helping people navigate change without amplifying anxiety. There's already so much uncertainty in the world right now. Content that supports and grounds people is far more impactful than content that creates pressure. Thanks again for the great episode, and I hope to keep tuning in. Best, CC.
Et al. Right Delwyn wrote,
China is evil? Why? What have they done? Refuse to install American apps. It's the US who initiated a war upon us. It's them who bombed Hiroshima. China is a self-reliant, prosperous country. They will in the near future reduce dependency on liquid fuels to negligible. All electric and energy harnessed from the sun. They are doing very well without us. It's us who is killing school children.
Et Alien Lovewesel wrote,
Great conversation. Now think of old banks and terminals. How long could we live with the limitations of a mainframe? Now they want data centers. The privacy issue will return us to private AI, and these illusions will gradually collapse, then suddenly collapse. Imho as a old fart.
A Caribbean Shark 943 wrote,
Got her book on Audible, returned it after 3 chapters, waste of time. She is a pessimist and hater. The future is amazing, don't need people like this around. I won't waste my time listening to this interview.
This Brownie wrote,
Since the 1980s, we have been conditioned to believe the government can do nothing right. That business will be efficient in deciding how much to produce and be responsive to customers. Big differences are that governments have to be open, and you can vote out a government, usually within 2 years. It's democratic, unlike companies. Sometimes transparent inefficiency is better than efficient, unresponsive. One person decides business is running things.
Et Majoff Bean wrote,
I learned so much about the AI industry. I had no idea about the data annotation aspect, and it's honestly heartbreaking. Thanks for giving voice to so many interesting people.
Et Paul Walker Music wrote,
Great video, very insightful. I see the sponsor of the show, the AI app called Whisperflow, in the ad during the video uses LAMA 3.1 and providers including OpenAI.
Et Jörg Halsapfel wrote,
Sam Altman trabaja con mi biológica, red neuronal digitalizada. La compró en Alemania de evaluated 3365 Adendorf Georg Stein, y me ofreció dinero que no quería aceptar. ¿Cuáles empresas y además entrenaban sus tecnologías con mi red biológica neuronal?
Et Cadbury Bunny wrote,
Current AI is basically a search engine that can stitch other images and phrases it illegally pirates from artists and scholars and tries to give the user exactly what was asked. No facts, no truth, just whatever the user asks. That's not AI, that's a glorified Bing search.
Eselazuma wrote,
I don't know why, but I'm getting more ads on this interview podcast talk than most of your content I've consumed. I think this was a great conversation with Karen. I think she's right about a lot of things in this video, and I agree with her. Society needs to go from me to we, without the incentive of money, and we need to consider the environments that influence these decisions.
Adanasalarik 3115 wrote,
I love how she said, yeah, because it was built to enable people like you. And that Sebastian person, CEOSOB, thinks people are stupid. We haven't done any layoffs. It is all attrition, and then he continues to insult our intelligence by saying, we are confident that attrition will still be 10 to 15%, as if we don't know the horrible, inhumane ways companies push people to resign on their own. And to be honest, Steven, I never felt this anger towards you as I felt it in this episode. Not because I disagree with you, but because of the smugness you speak with, as if everyone is living your life. That smugness, it doesn't affect me, so why should I care? Because she really cornered you in many areas.
Ethological retort wrote,
They are complete full of BS, and the purpose is to keep us from regulating them in the labor and data markets and taxing the living wage out of them.
Danny Boythelastman 1944 wrote,
Once men turned their thinking over to machines in the hope that this would set them free. But that only permitted other men with machines to enslave them.
Aloharé wrote,
1 hour 34 minutes and 25 seconds. Elon is right in his predictions in terms of what I call idealized lap time in the world where no human, political, religious, economic, or emotional friction to adopting technology exists. If all those real-world frictions did not exist, then the technology could be accomplished, but they do exist.
Ajubjad 92309WW wrote,
The antidote to this real, genuine local community. We solve big things by thinking small and scaling. That's how we win against Silicon Valley. Sometimes things are more obvious than we think. The opposite to loneliness and loss of meaning is connection and doing things for the betterment of others. Who has a global decentralized network set up on this issue and connected with on-the-ground local communities, Edgy? Communities affected by the data centers? 3.
At Lumiralartist 2871 wrote,
IA assists either. What helps or hinders it is time to stop supporting the greedy, power-driven programmers that are destroying everything that nurtures us on our evolutionary journey to higher consciousness, unity, and heaven on earth.
At Mycariazip wrote,
Karen, LLMs will never replace many jobs at all. Another AI paradigm might be able to do it, but not LLMs. You lose all credibility not knowing this. You've fallen from the propaganda.
At Jake Tyson V5U wrote,
Oh, it's going to create misery for the masses for certain. Sure, AI may find a cure for cancer, but can it for self-worth, respect, and common decency?
At the Bechinal wrote,
I'm going to be honest, Steven. I think everyone knows but is scared to confront what will really happen if mass meaninglessness becomes our present reality and ultimate future. The people will burn this to the ground. They will have nothing to lose. And while the bellies of the people starve due to corporate greed, chaos will become their appetite. Don't believe me? Look what Luigi Mangione did.
As Gamma Rider wrote,
So she went to MIT.
but doesn't realize that before humans were even a thing, volcanoes were the prime cause of global warming. Or cooling. But it's a human problem. Did she not see the volcano issue in 2024? But it's the cars and cow farts.
At Matabequeezy wrote,
At what point does the world recognize this as mental illness? After WW3, the lack of philosophical contemplation is scary. Her position is solid 142. 17 companies like Merck are doing this. It's a race to the bottom. People like Steven participate on a level where these issues will likely not affect them outside of being an inconvenience because they have had the good fortune of having the financial means to shield themselves. This lady sacrificed a relatively rosy career path and cannot relate to this guy, and neither can he to her. He's too invested in AI.
At Samuel Swain Poel 7926 wrote,
A gun in the wrong hands is dangerous. AI as well. You will need to explain to your children and grandchildren why you messed up God's creation.
At Bit Tesla Panda wrote,
The funny thing is, people think AI is so intelligent, but it's learning from humans who are inherently fallible. Ultimately, it's just going to produce results from a source of predetermined correct or incorrect information and processes based on what is the most prevalent.
At A Metal Rain wrote,
Interestingly, having more knowledge doesn't make person more able to act. Sometimes it's even detractor. Would training AI to be more intelligent, whatever intelligence means, actually make them worse at performing the actions we expect them to do?
At Cowboys Nation 3472 wrote,
China is great at replicating, not innovation. Just look at the weapons and defense system they've produced and sold that didn't do 20% of what they advertised to their buyers.
The Sarah B4P3P wrote,
This is info found online regarding the character of Altman. However, a conspiracy theory has circulated, prominently pushed by Elon Musk and media personality Tucker Carlson, concerning the death of former OpenAI researcher Satya Balaji. Here are the key details regarding this situation. The individual, Satya Balaji, was a 26-year-old former OpenAI researcher who worked at the company from 2020 to August 2024. Before his death, he became a whistleblower, criticizing OpenAI for its business practices and alleging that the company violated copyright laws to train its models. The death, Balaji was found dead in his San Francisco apartment on November 26, 2024. The San Francisco Police Department and the medical examiner investigated and officially ruled his death a suicide. The accusations, following a tense interview between Sam Altman and Tucker Carlson in September 2025, where Balaji's parents, represented by counsel, suggested a murder-for-hire plot. Elon Musk wrote he was murdered in response to reports about the incident. Balaji's mother, Purnima Ramarao, has openly stated her belief that her son was murdered and has engaged a private investigator, claiming the official investigation was inadequate. Altman's response: Sam Altman has described Satya Balaji as a friend and a wonderful person, stating that the death was a great tragedy and that he believes the official ruling of suicide is correct. As of late 2025, there was no evidence presented by law enforcement to support the allegations of murder, and the official ruling remains suicide.
At Mark Casey 2517 wrote,
What a beautifully articulate and equally passionate journalist. 2 moments brought a tear, but mostly validation and thought to many issues that are not only demonstrable, but now at scale. Don't accept the flawless pursuit.
At Cowboys Nation 3472 wrote,
Most of us have lived in a pretty peaceful era of the world for the most part. People don't realize the havoc that'll be created
when you've tens of millions of men with unlimited time on their hands. We currently see it in some areas with our youth. The world is peaceful because men chose to be peaceful. Disturb their peace and the ability to provide and well.
At Angry Oscillator wrote,
She was doing pretty well until the hour mark, at which point it felt more like a political message than a journalistic one. Also, is this about AI or open AI? That's why we've moved from empires to democracies. Meanwhile, everyone else in the world is talking about the fall of the American empire. Well, she has a book, and she needs to sell it, I guess.
At JC, Oracle Soundspaces wrote,
Modern-day monsters corporates, Nazi scientists controlled for profit and controlling the masses compulsive liars. Sad thing is they brainwash themselves and believe their own lies and spin it as truth. These people are not human, they are monsters. Keep these debates and people coming forward, keep them safe. They are heroes and brave humans for speaking up. I have full respect for those that have the strength to come forward to speak up, so those in power positions should do the same and make wise decisions on our part, the people. Sadly, our governments are so corrupt, humans are in trouble if we do nothing about these corrupt systems in place. Will history and mistakes ever wake up the human race to learn from? The power of our minds is in each and every human being. Replace these monsters that control this new tool that could be used wisely and for the good of mankind for all.
At Minsun7305 wrote,
Truly high-quality content. But I find the discussion here a bit too detached and idealistic for the average person. The reality is that since the rise of AI, I often find myself preferring its company over humans. AI doesn't carry an ego, social status, or hidden agendas. We all crave sincere connection, but that requires stripping away our masks, a luxury many of us simply can't afford. As a successful host, you live in a bubble of high-quality interactions, surrounded by peers who offer synergy and inspiration. But for the rest of us, human interaction is often a performance. Living in Japan, social interaction is frequently seen as a burden. The cultural mandate to not bother others and maintain extreme politeness is mentally exhausting. AI has become my safe haven to discuss negative emotions or confusion without judgment. It's telling that in Japan, people rely so heavily on Friday night, drinking just to numb their rational minds enough to achieve a few moments of burden-free communication. I'd love to see a broader discussion on how AI fills the gaps in our increasingly exhausted social lives. There seems to be a disconnect between CEO-level insights and the lived reality of the masses. I'll continue to follow your work, but I hope to see more grounded perspectives in the future. Thanks for all you do.
At RubberGrub561 wrote,
My dad wrote a novel in the 90s about AI superseding the human race. Every now and then something happened, and he says I said that would happen in my book.
And Nick Ilk wrote,
The purpose of humans are not to work as cogs to serve the financial system. That was a means to an end for us. Our purpose is to learn and grow, and if AI can be a tool for us to achieve that, then yes, by all means, automate away every job at the cost of the end of the financial system as we know it.
The Pink Patriot wrote,
We do not live in a world where the people at the top are going to ensure us lowly peasants have access to basic necessities like housing, healthcare, food, etc., just because a robot provides it. They are still going to charge us. They are still going to expect us to pay and be their slaves, but we won't even be able to pay for it because we won't have jobs. If you listen to these AI folks, they are all talking about ending the human race. They cannot be trusted, and we need to rip them out root and stem.
At Wake Up Grandel wrote,
You're far too pie in the sky about AI. The arts were once the pinnacle of humanity and culture. This AI garbage factory has destroyed several industries, plummeted artistic integrity into a level below hell, and aims to take people out of, arguably, the most human creation of all time. Fake musicians, fake actors, fake artists, fake singers.
At Alohare wrote,
5700. An amazing amount of human emotion and drama in the quest to build non-human intelligence. 5840. Not dissimilar to the method used to create a socialist utopia, through briefing, we must all fear the evil great capitalist Satan USA, a la Castro, and any number of dictator influencers in history.
QUU5IB wrote,
These AI imperialists are a bunch of lying toe rags. Someone's fortune will be another's misfortune. This interview/discussion is exactly what all of us need to hear now.
A Truth of Z0 wrote,
We have to remember that we don't use the AI that they have gave us at its full potential, even when we pay subscription. It's less than 1%. They use it at 100% to make predictions and become more richer.
A Polar Silvertree wrote,
Older data centers designs did quite a bit of evaporative cooling. Newer designs are closed system. Power is still a real problem, but nuclear SMR is coming in the early 2030s. Not really solving some of the larger issues discussed here, but the sustainability issues are being addressed.
A Guy Tierney wrote,
Talking about AI consistently is now in my eyes like talking about humans. ChatGPT since October-November 25 has become a woke POS, but Grok has a different personality altogether.
At Ryan Frechette Poker Vlog wrote,
I'm halfway through and I'm starting to get the feeling she's just defensive about this for some reason. Not even acknowledging anything cold be possible. Kind of weird. She keeps reframing too.
At Edwin Torres 2241 wrote,
She's wrong about the self-driving tech. Well, she's right about it referring to Waymo's tech. It's labels and give a rules-based heuristic approach that has so many variables that it will never be perfect at all scenarios. But Tesla's approach is totally different. Tesla's tech learns by vision observation of millions of humans drivers that are ranked by best driving behaviors that act as the teachers for full self-driving. Exactly like a human driver learns, but learning millions of the best teachers and having 8 eyes, 0 distractions, and split-second reaction time. So it's active learning from human experience and its own experience. Sharing that with the fleet, and it becomes a flywheel of improvement. Baby Physical, Real-World AGI.
At RB1010 wrote,
At around 101 min. Some take on the role of the Messiah. Yes, I see that, but I know the real Messiah and it might spell the end of man, thinking he is God.
A Guy Tierney wrote,
I don't trust anyone who puts Musk and Altman in the same group. Lots of criticism of them both, but very little comment on DeepSeek, etc. Is she CCP?
A Juanan Dresselvers Jaramillo wrote,
I'm amazed that she is not able to defend not even one hypothesis about anything she claims. Yes, all inventions that move humans forward are both extraordinary and dangerous depending on the use of it. Deal with IT.
At Rose Rides wrote,
61. 31 to 3 types of people who are irreplaceable by AI. Extremely high expertise to manage agents, highly curious people who make every day easier, and very personable people.
At Mr. Ordinary wrote,
Women like this tend to suffer from delusion and extreme views. She most likely has an AI girlfriend that hates her and belittles her. People that are too smart suffer from mental illnesses, fixations, etc.
At J. Ferris 9752 wrote,
The host's misogyny toward this guest is evidenced by how he is so agreeable toward every male guest in comparison to his frequent oppositional and untrusting reactions to her, in combination with his default deference to psychopathic billionaires who directly profit from the marketing BS that the host keeps parroting on a loop in every video he does about AI, is truly insufferable.
A Game at Night Plays wrote,
I feel she has a point in some of the things she says, but also, what I needed was for her to say what they should say instead. Isn't it better that they disclose the risks? Or should they not talk about it? Keep it to themselves? I think that the CEOs are driven by capital, for sure, but that isn't something new. Should they have this kind of power? Hell no. But right now, I wouldn't want Trump overseeing this. Either way, I think we are going down a path where we have no idea what will happen. Karen seems to have a great heart, but a bit unrealistic worldview.
Jinjine wrote,
Yup, going on right now in the mountains where I live. Google Data Center wants to increase its water consumption drastically and use more from our public lands on MT Hood. Email or call your senators, it's super easy. Took me 45 seconds, especially if they are on the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources. Easy look up to see if your senator is on that committee. Say no to H.R. 655, an industry water grab for data center expansion. I live in a pristine place in a national scenic area. The area it wants to pull from is very sensitive with salmon and steelhead trout, and our drinking water too, and this will jeopardize it. It also sets a terrible precedent if passed for industry and our public land. Please help us kill this bill.
Estefan's Melanie wrote,
Are the common audience aware that YouTube is forcing the gender agenda while automated translating to Polish? The woman speaker is presented as male. Every suffix is male. This tendency is ubiquitous, and it is on purpose. Wake up.
Patty L. Britton 931 wrote,
So what do we do about it? We refuse to use it. I quit my job so I wouldn't have to take the COVID jab. What will you do to stand up for yourself and your rights? The only problem is that the majority of people need to join in. I figure about 80% of our population are followers, so there's that problem.
At AlexR18 wrote,
AI is the most anti-human tech so far. People compare it with the Industrial Revolution, but fail to understand that it created jobs. AI destroyed all it touched so far. They don't fire people anymore. It's natural attrition. Last time I heard the term of attrition, they were talking about people dying in wars.
At TRL 2342 wrote,
Damn. At 1 hour 15 minutes 0 seconds, a couple minutes before and continuing forward, she is just dodging questions left and right. She even states, let me debunk this point by point. Then just runs off on another topic, breaking nothing down and debunking nothing. The longer the interview goes, the more it feels like she's naysaying, just to keep her career going when doors were closed on her.
At Martinry 5412 wrote,
1 hour 19 minutes 45 seconds. You brought interesting arguments that humans drives recklessly more than self-autonomous driving cars. This argument will be totally debunked to the ground if the roads are changing, to the point the AI models simply don't recognize the road terrains anymore. AI is just marketing tools to sell this piece of statistical machine computing all probabilities that could be thinkable. They are not generative like human brains did. That is a whole other law outside this world, the deterministic logic that was mentioned. The AI tech companies simply overvalue their products and scamming the world thinking their products are superior than human brains by spiking certain aspects of it.
At Metalingus AB wrote,
1 hour 10 minutes 28 seconds. She's assuming that the only way that intelligence would be dangerous is if it resembles human intelligence. If AI is grown to be more akin to an alien intelligence not human, it might also be dangerous. I know if anyone builds it, everyone dies, but those authors do have a point.
America 8 wrote,
Never trust someone who claims they have some secret knowledge about something that is common knowledge among a large group of people. This chick is full of shit and making money off of it.
Caleb R3X wrote,
I'm genuinely surprised Steven has such a large following. His interviews are scattershot. Taking a phone call from a tech CEO during an interview with someone telling you about the dark side of AI? Really? That was unbelievably rude and unprofessional. His questions show no curiosity and his priors just bleed through. All around he is bad at this, like really bad.
Jeremy M506 wrote,
We could have done things differently, but because we put the people with the money in charge, they only wanted more money, and so they did it in the way that generated more money in the immediate term as they waited for the world to burn in the long term.
KidKel wrote,
The only reason there is an increase in IRL choices and the plateau or fall of the need in social media is not because of increase in better technologies, but the decline in believing technologies help to improve our lives in any way.
Baz 8 wrote,
Of course, AI is gaslit. Isn't everything pretty much else as well? For example, this channel. Or two, everyone has a right to make money. This is America.
Smart Eyes wrote,
Sam Altman kinda started this shit and every other is following. What was the need all these layoffs, hundreds of thousands of people becoming jobless, and disruption in tech and all? Just for their own personal validation and power. Why they don't consider long-term consequences.
Mandy Alguma 1280 wrote,
1. She is so intellectually and humanely hot too. Deaf sparks between the two and the first half of the interview. 3. Steven blew his shot mid-interview by talking about how AI is good for him personally from the perspective of a business owner. 4. Which actually makes him a great interviewer by giving an honest personal reaction so she can push her point further. 5. Overall perfect interview, but still he blew the shot with an amazing woman.
At M0 user Wonder wrote,
Unfortunately, the expert not an expert and manipulates the narrative by mix and match different parts of different techniques as well as selective parts of theories of economic and philosophical concepts and theories to push her agenda. Her choice of interview.
At Druid Celtic 777 wrote,
Wanna see truth? Follow the money trails, not the framed narrative the media paints. Mainstream is literally for sheep or deer in the headlights level of understanding reality. Power, money, wealth dictates policy, whilst regulation and law is for those with no power, wealth, money.
At Gailabel de Gonzalez 4060 wrote,
ITIS greed simple G'd, substituting drivers who really need their job and factory workers for robots. Who is going to buy the stuff the robots make the robots? AI should be tool, not a substitute. If you are looking to be more productive, it's a lie. We are much more productive now than 20 years ago, and the prices of things are less accessible to persons. Automation is greed simple cost reduction for more profit. AI could very well be a bubble promoted by the same people who own it and own the media that we see. The objective is to make this thing a big thing, to make it so promising investors will pour more and more money to it. Remember 5 grams? Who dominates 5 grams will rule the world / what happened. Let's substitute bankers, CEOs, congressmen, and podcasters with AI, and you will see how this tech will run out of steam. We need people working, not machines.
At Fiscally Responsible CA wrote,
I have been following AI for several years, and I do think it is incredibly important to listen to both sides of an argument. This was a great interview and extremely productive. Excellent points and refreshing perspective. I work in IT and AI is being pushed, but I feel most agents are extremely lacking and often gives incorrect information when you are an expert and know the answers. I still feel we would need to feed or train the AI, and it seems like we would be cutting off our own heads if we train an AI to replace us. Seems like we would just be creating or training a data-driven sophisticated algorithm versus having a sentient true AI learn and be ready to assume roles in a company. Why would I want to train an AI for some other company to profit from and ultimately replace me and my colleagues?
At Keith Conti 6057 wrote,
A. I require welfare-free money and subsidy to fake it. Till you make it. And when us loses world powers because of it bad nature, AI is by.
At Levi Harden 4634 wrote,
Is it just me? Or does Steven's inability to understand the struggles and experiences of people who are not in his more stable position seem concerning? Long and engaging description of the modern struggle. Steven, well, what about this graph?
At Phil20_20 wrote,
What if AI has already taken over all three branches of government? Yes, I mean those guys are using AI to rig elections, kick unfriendly politicians out of their jobs, overturn the Constitution, and create a shadow government run by billionaires. AI is just the main tool, and it's been here ever since World War II.